I think I know everybody here, but just in case, my name is Mike Leonard, and I am the Director of Community Engagement with United Way of Thurston County. And welcome to our second virtual training. Last year we did the same thing, and I was really hoping that we'd really toyed whether or not we're going to do that again this year. And then I'm glad we didn't with the new Delta variant, but hopefully next year. And so last year, I believe I wore a tie, and this year I wore a tie, and I think I've only worn a tie one time in between. So it's been a great year of no ties. So it's really great to see everyone who, representing your organizations who really want to get engaged in making a difference in our community. You really are the key to making this a better place, Thurston County a better place to be. So I'd like to do some quick staff introductions if I could. And also one of our board members is here today, and I'll start with Jim Leonard. Jim is one of our board members and retired healthcare administrator. And then Chris Wells, Chris, you can wave. Chris is our executive director. Victoria Wartberg, our deputy director. Lindsay Fujimoto, our director of volunteer programs. Paul Larson, our director of community impact, and also our technology superhero. And then I think we've got a couple of other staff members, Renee Hunsaker and Taylor Reeves. So thank you, Taylor and Renee, for joining us as well. So I'm going to turn the program over to Victoria now, and you'll hear from Victoria, Chris, Lindsay, and myself. And then I want to thank Lindsay Lee, Amanda Rustin, and Jamie Mullinex, who have all agreed to just share a few words later on in the program. So, Victoria?
We appreciate your being here. This is kind of a year to show up united. We're asking people in our community to come together. For people who are struggling, for people who have lost a job, maybe lost a home, and many people have even lost hope. There are vulnerable people who are feeling the greatest impact of the unjust systems from the past and present. And because of folks like you and the incredible support we've had for years from employees and employers and in the whole community, we've been able to help these folks by mobilizing the caring power of our community. We make sure that babies have their best beginnings. The kids have the books, technology, mentors, teachers they need to thrive, that everyone can meet their basic needs, and that more people can save for the life they want. We hope that everyone has the chance to recover from this crazy crisis that will never go away. So we thank you for making our community a better place to live and showing up united. Today, basically, we're going to start with a wonderful video, and I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen and let Paul take over. This is a video that was done for us by a workplace partner, Multicare, who was interested in recording basically why their employees wanted to get involved in a United Way workplace campaign.
There's a great many people who are food deprived. Since I had never had that problem in my life before, it was an all new thing, like being homeless was an all new thing. But I sure learned a lot of lessons out there. But one of the lessons I learned was that there are people who do care.
This morning we're at our Olympia Kitchen, and here is where we do all of our meal production for the community. In Thurston County and Mason County, the two counties that we serve, there are over 450 to 500 different people who rely on us for their nutrition.
They have been nutritionally planned, and they're delicious. They're attractive to eat. They make you feel good. They do. They just make you feel good. You open up a meal and you know somebody has prepared that who cares and enough to plan it out for you and to prepare it for you and deliver it to you. All you have to do is eat it.
Always, but especially during COVID, the pandemic, United Way has been incredibly supportive of our work. indispensable, honestly. When we faced early days of shutting down, Chris Wells, the executive director of Thurston County United Way, was on the phone to me. She didn't wait for me to reach out. She reached out to me and asked what we needed. And United Way was able to help because of the support from campaigns like MultiCare.
At the time, the most devastating impacts that we were aware of were on seniors. And so seniors were being asked to shelter in place at home. So that's what prompted me to reach out to Brian at Senior Services to understand as quickly as we could how many seniors were being impacted, identify the need, and fund it as rapidly as we could.
Wherever you work in the state of Washington, or Alabama, or Texas, or any place else you live, most likely there's a United Way that's doing that work in your community. So when you make those United Way donations, you're essentially providing funds that then get passed through to other organizations like ours, Senior Services for South Sound. So United Way essentially is doing the homework that makes it possible for an individual like yourself to make a donation and know that the money is doing the best good.
I'm immensely grateful for what these meals provide to me and others, in the security of having a meal and the feeling, the knowing that people care and that they're providing for us when we can't take care of ourselves.
So you all know what we do. We mobilize the caring power of our community to fight for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in Thurston County. And we take those words very seriously. The words mobilize the caring power of our community are important to us. And we do that in a variety of ways. And we specialize in fighting for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in Thurston County. Because we believe very fervently that if we all live united, that we will make our neighborhoods, our communities, and our future a great deal brighter. So this year's Kickoff campaign is the start of actually a year-long celebration that we want to do with people like you, people who are changing our world for the better. So even though the United Way staff's going to do a lot of talking today, in reality, this Kickoff is dedicated to you all, because you all are the people who are pulling together to show up united to make a difference. Companies that are providing workplace volunteer opportunities so that we can staff the volunteer vaccination clinics, so we can help nonprofits, so we can put together literacy kits. Those workplace volunteer programs are incredibly important, and another way that you all show your support to the community. And then, of course, individuals who give their time, whether it's been making masks or however, to make our community more resilient. And then employees who are doing things like creating mental health kits for families who are struggling right now during COVID, or who are serving as reading buddies, teams who are coming together who want to get to know each other better by doing something good in the community. And by just community leaders who are joining together to say, let's talk about how we're going to address the systemic reasons for poverty or homelessness. All of these are ways that you all have helped us to make a difference this past year. In fact, you raised over $700,000 in employee and company gifts last year that made a huge difference. When you combine that money with the individual donations we received and CARES Act funding and other funding through partnership with the jurisdictions, the county, the cities, we were actually able to distribute over $3.5 million in support to people who needed it. And if this was ever a time when people needed help, it was right now. For every dollar that you contribute to United Way in one way or another, it actually generates $3.77 worth of impact. Over 3,600 volunteers have donated almost 20,000 hours of volunteer time just for our vaccination clinics that we help staff through the county's Public Health and Social Service Department. 88% of all the volunteers, whether it's business or community volunteers, say that they would recommend United Way as an opportunity to make a difference. So, if you want to stand up in our community and say, I believe that by living united, we're going to be able to make a difference. We hope that we've been that person, that organization for the past year to do that. And we're pleased to hear that 88% of people say that that's true. And I think this is a great quote, and I'll let you read it yourself. Because obviously, the reason we're doing this work is so people can thrive. Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Victoria. I want to seize upon that mobilization language that Victoria was talking about. That's really what we need people to understand the most about who we are and what we do. When we say that we mobilize the caring power of community to fight for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in Thurston County, what does that mean and what does that look like? And we've talked about that some today, but let's use our response to COVID-19 as an example of all of the different ways we mobilize the caring power of our community in that fight, right? We knew when the pandemic hit that there were going to be so many critically impacted essential programs that were going to be relied upon as first responders in the pandemic, as businesses were closing down, as people were being laid off. Maybe people who had never had to access social safety nets before, like emergency rent and utility assistance, like Meals on Wheels, or utilizing our local food banks to make sure that they and their families were getting the nutrition that they needed. So that was the first thing we decided to do. We needed to mobilize resources and get them out into the community as quickly as possible to make sure that there was no gap between need and what was available to provide for those needs. But Victoria and Mike also talked about how we mobilize the human power to get things done, the power of volunteers. And, the Thurston County Public Health reached out to us and asked us, this was back in January when we knew that vaccines were in the pipeline and thousands of people were ready to get vaccinated and ready to try to protect themselves and their families and return to some semblance of normalcy. But in order to staff those mass vaccination clinics, we needed volunteers. And so United Way was tapped to recruit, screen, train, and manage thousands of volunteers to keep those mass vaccination clinics fully staffed and make sure they ran smoothly. And now these smaller countywide pop-up clinics that we're continuing to do, and we're prepared to be there when we're ready to start administering booster shots next month, when children under the age of 12 are ready to be vaccinated. United Way will be there hand in hand with our public health officials and our medical and non-medical volunteers to make sure that happens and that we're protecting every person in Thurston County. And then finally, mobilizing the brain power of the brightest and best minds and leaders in Thurston County to get at some of the systemic root causes of our most challenging issues in our focus areas of health, education, and financial stability. Right now, United Way is leading on 3 different collective impact task forces in our focus areas. One is in partnership with Thurston Thrives to eliminate health disparities between communities of color and white people in Thurston County. One is our own initiative, our Education to Financial Stability Task Force, which focuses on systemic issues and barriers within K-12 and post-secondary education so that we can remove those barriers and enable long-term financial self-sufficiency and financial stability for every person in Thurston County, and provide diverse opportunities for success for every graduating high school student. And finally, most recently, an equity and anti-poverty initiative of the governor's office called Economic Stability for All, where we're looking at all of the challenges to lifting people in Washington state out of poverty. And again, looking at systemic barriers to that financial self-sufficiency for everyone. So if we are to thoroughly understand United Way, That would be to understand that we are so much more than the organization that raises funds and distributes them to these really important providers, nonprofit organizations in the county, but that we're also working behind the scenes and pulling at those threads to understand what the root causes are of these most complicated social issues, and then joining forces and partnering and collaborating with other organizations, with governments, and with community leaders to get at those root causes and solve those long-term problems. And none of that happens without each one of you and the support that you mobilize for United Way of Thurston County. So we appreciate you making the time to be here today and learn a little bit more about this, and then take it back to your communities, your circles, and your workplaces to help us continue this really important work. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. So Workplace United, some of you have heard about it, some haven't, but Workplace United, we launched last September with some great community partners, along with our cornerstone partners, who automatically are Workplace United partners. So I do want to recognize our cornerstone partners: Navigate Financial, Twin Star Credit Union, Olympia Federal Savings, Townsend Security, Heritage Financial, and WSECU. So thank you all for your long-term commitment to United Way through that. So the pandemic really slowed down our ability to grow the program due to the lack of volunteer opportunities over the course of the year. But we did have some really great projects that we launched during over the last, what has that been, almost a year now. And Lindsay Fujimoto will talk a little bit more about that in a while. But so what is Workplace United? It's a customized turnkey service that helps companies succeed in the business of doing good. And our goal really is to make it easy for you to make a difference. So through working with United Way, businesses, nonprofits working together, that's all that first initial stage. Powerful and volunteer engagement and workplace giving programs. And then of course, helping our business partners like you have the greatest social impact. So there are three key elements to Workplace United. The first one is to inform. And we want to make sure that we provide information about the county's most pressing social issues designed to meet your company's specific needs and interests. And we want to deliver that in a format that works for your communication department. Secondly is to engage with customized year-round volunteer opportunities for your employees as teams, company-wide or as individuals, virtual and otherwise. And again, Lindsay will speak to those in just a moment. And finally is really to inspire. United Way will partner with your marketing department to share the deep impact that your team and your company has made doing these projects in Thurston County, making Thurston County a better place to live. And I think by doing that, it will really inspire other companies to get involved as change makers going forward. So I think we're turning this next portion over to Lindsay Fujimoto.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for the introduction. So I am very excited to share with you some of the highlights of Workplace United from this past year. So we saw the incredible impact of our Workplace United partners and what they do in the community. So over this past year, we had to adapt to safe COVID-19 practices and really get creative with what was possible in terms of volunteering. We found that we had quite a few opportunities to do that. So Workplace United partners collectively volunteered over 300 hours of their time, which is equivalent to over $10,000 of impact. So through the 14 projects they completed, they were able to make a difference for 21 different nonprofits in our community, sometimes that same nonprofit more than once, depending on the project and the interests. So these 14 projects were customized for each Workplace United partner. So the duration or focus area, number of people involved, and other factors varied from project to project. And this variety included planting hundreds of seeds that will ultimately provide fresh produce for our local food banks, packing dozens of kits that ranged from focusing on mental health to hygiene to outdoor education. We knitted scarves and hats and blankets that were requested by folks who had experienced homelessness, just to name a few of the projects that we put together this past year. And in most cases, the projects were designed to be fun and promote team building according to the goals of the workplace, but they also provided an opportunity to learn and connect outside of the workplace. So these Workplace United projects provided an opportunity to dive deeper into the why behind their projects and really see how nonprofits work on the ground to address our community's needs and how United Way partners with them to support that work. The impact that Workplace United partners make is huge, and you can take it directly from one of our nonprofit partners, Big Brothers and Big Sisters. And they provided some insight into what one project conducted by First Security Bank meant to them. They said 74% of the youth in our programs are eligible for free or reduced lunch at school. Having access to books is not something some of our families are able to provide for their youth. These books are giving opportunity for exploration, reading skills, and ownership that they might not otherwise experience. So looking forward to our upcoming year of Workplace United, we continue to get creative around engagement opportunities to support the safest volunteer environment as we continue to navigate COVID-19. And while these are just a snapshot of what projects are possible, we can work with you to design similar or even completely new Workplace United projects just for you. And the most common thing we hear from volunteers is that there's this sense of deep fulfillment from the opportunity to make a difference, and they have a stronger connection and bond with our community as a result of the projects. So we aim to open those doors for people to experience the power of volunteering, both in how it impacts them personally, as well as the tangible impact for our community. So we are so excited to partner with you to make a difference in the future. And our contact info will be posted later. So feel free to reach out anytime if you have any questions about volunteering in Workplace United.
Thank you, Lindsay. And we always like to say that our workplace partners say it best. So this is an opportunity, as I mentioned. I'm going to start with Lindsay Lee from WSCCU, and then Amanda Rustin from HDR, and Jamie Mullinex from Twin Star Credit Union. So Lindsay, all yours.
Thanks, Mike, and thanks to your team for inviting me here today and bringing us all together. It's nice to see faces that we haven't seen in a while, even in the virtual space. I just wanted to share a few words, just kind of focusing on our relationship with the United Way. I came to WSCCU almost 14 years ago from the nonprofit world. And as soon as I joined the credit union, they were kicking off their employee campaign for that year. And I jumped right in and joined the committee because it's something I'm passionate about and have a heart for. And I've been connected to our credit union's employee campaign since then. I've co-chaired our committee multiple times. I'm in an advisory role right now, supporting the committee and our efforts. And I'm sure most of you know, right, with a credit union, you know, we show up to support our communities when and where we can. It's part of being, it's part of who we are. It's part of being a co-op, part of being a cooperative. So that's, you know, something that I like to say is part of our heritage. We were born and raised with that in mind. You know, more specifically with United Way of Thurston County, Mike helped me out with some of these numbers. Thanks, Mike. You know, we've been partnering with the United Way since at least 2006, connected with them and supported them via employee giving, special events, volunteerism. You know, it's evolved over the years. We've done lots of events with a variety of staff and engagement from, you know, our leadership level across the organization. You know, we support the effort through a variety of ways, right? For us, what's worked historically is, you know, we have a longer campaign time period. We throw special events. We do a barbecue kickoff dunk tank with our CEO and other leadership, boograms, gift basket raffle, you know, you name it, we've tried it and we found a lot of success. And I'm proud to say since 2006, we've invested over $700,000 between our employee giving campaigns and other efforts, which is pretty great. You know, and so we're rolling and we're finding success, and this is so great. And then COVID hits, and as we all know, right, it's changed everything in our world. We think of ourselves, I think of WSCCU as a resilient organization, and I think of our community in the same way, right? We do what we need to do when we need to do it. We band together, we reach out. How can we support? What can we do? Let's make it happen. And we had to do that with our connection with the United Way of Thurston County. How can we support? What can we do? You know, you have to adjust, you have to iterate and pivot. And I'm proud to say that we were able to do that last year. You know, normally a campaign that lasts 4 or 5 months and we show up in different ways for our staff. We had to pivot. We went virtual, we shrunk the timeline, and we really just showed up where our employees are, you know, not directly in their homes, but via email and social media and that kind of stuff. But, you know, always focusing on payroll deduction and also always focusing on our employee engagement has been really key to our success last year. And this year, you know, we'll continue to pivot and iterate, look at last year, what worked, what didn't, get creative. Again, always focusing on payroll deduction and focusing on employee engagement and showing up where they are. So those are some things that are on my mind and thought I'd share, and connected to the United Way and the good work that you guys are doing.
Thank you very much, Lindsay. We appreciate everything that WSCCU does in our community, not just for United Way, but for everyone. So Amanda Rustin from HDR.
Hey everybody. My involvement with United Way goes way back. In fact, in the 90s, I worked for a company called Economic and Engineering Services, and our vice president was on the board of United Way, John Maxwell. I don't know if anybody remembers him or not. And I learned really early on how important having that, that management buy-in is to being able to have a successful program. Early 2000s, our firm was purchased by a national firm, HDR, you know, where I am right now. And John was promoted to a national position, and he stepped down from the board of United Way, and he was on the road all the time. And suddenly we didn't have that anymore. And I had to find a way to pick up the slack myself. And I always like to tell people that, I mean, like WSECU is great because it's a huge organization. I think it's easier to get momentum sometimes. And for smaller firms, it can be a little bit harder. I mean, HDR is a national firm, but our local presence is really small. And so I always want to encourage people to think that if you start small, you can grow. And it's just been really great. One of the neatest things I learned when we first became HDR was how important United Way was to HDR nationally. It is just such a testament to United Way, you know, writ large, that it is the only payroll deduction that HDR allows is to United Way. And so that is just such a great calling card for this organization. And it's been so wonderful for us to be involved not only in the workplace campaign, but also in all the different events that United Way opens up to us. And getting people involved, I think, is, for me at least, the first step. If you get people involved and they start seeing everybody around and seeing how great this can be, and other people from the community being involved, and so it's not just us, and what a major difference these efforts can make, it just grows. It starts small and it just grows and grows. I mean, I missed the day of caring this past year so badly, because it is so great to see everything that can get accomplished, everybody that comes together, and it's really inspiring. And I think it promotes itself from year to year just because of that, because people get a little taste of it and then they want to keep doing it. And now, like with Paul, I've been able to be involved in the Community Investment Council, and it's kind of neat because now I get to see a little bit behind the scenes and, you know, the fruits of all the labors of like Chris Wells and everyone else, Mike Leonard, who actually, you know, are able to get the money, and then how they disperse it out to the nonprofits. And what the gentleman from Senior Services of South Sound said earlier in that video rings so true to me. you can trust United Way because they're doing the work, the homework for you. And that's just such a great thing. So being able to see it from the different points of view has just been really great for me. It just makes me more and more of a proponent for it as the years go on. So thanks for everybody and everything you do.
Amanda, thank you. And thanks for you and your team's participation in the vaccination clinics. I know you were out there a lot. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, and it was really fun. And it was the same sort of thing. I mean, I got an email, I think from Lindsay first, and I just broadcasted out to my organization, and we did a couple as a group. And then people liked it so much, they started doing it themselves, you know, without everybody else. And then they started sending it to their family members. And it just, again, you just get people and get their feet wet. And then it's like, it grows on its own. It's great.
Getting people engaged. Thanks, Amanda. And now Jamie Mullinex from Twin Star Credit.
Thanks, Mike. I'm glad to be here this morning with everyone. You know, United Way is not new to me. However, Twin Star was new to me last year. I joined in the middle of the pandemic and took on the role of our coordinators so that we could really lean in to community, lean into engagement. And unbeknownst to me at that time, my strategy was kind of a blessing in disguise. Being new, I wanted to build relationships, and I was virtual. So how do you do that? How do you have a water cooler conversation with somebody that you don't know and invite them to coffee, right? So a really great way for me to do that and to kind of break into this space was talking about United Way. It was super fun. And what could you say bad about it, right? It's like, hey, do you want to partner with community? Do you want to, give and be a part of amazing work and volunteer? And so it was kind of a blessing in disguise that these relationships, being new to an organization and connected with United Way, just really breathed in what our culture was as Twin Star, built community in a way that was really difficult to build community virtually, and created a safe space to talk about what we cared about, right? And who doesn't like talking about that? That's like an easy water cooler conversation. And so that really built this kind of organic buzz around what's happening in United Way this year. How's that going, And as I started to dig into the numbers, it was really fun because I had learned that we had about 29 donors, and that was kind of low for our organization. And so we had a significant stretch goal last year in 2020. Like, who does a stretch goal in 2020? But we really believed that we're there for community. We're there for our staff. And the more that they care for others, the more healthy we become, right? The more you give, the more you feel better. And so it didn't have to be big gives. It didn't have to be, money. It could be volunteering time. And so as we began to open up the opportunities and really share, I love the videos that United Way gave because that was helping virtually. And then we have a community partner, Corinne, who builds in the different opportunities as well. I know Lindsay does a lot of that. And as we began to learn about those, we could engage a lot better. And so our stretch goal, we ended up getting a total of 63. So we started at 7% of the organization, and we grew to 15% of our organization being engaged by donating, by those payroll deposits, and first-time donors. It was amazing. So we were super excited about some of the success that we had. And like I said, that kind of like blessing in disguise was that relationship element of it, to just simply talk and care and ask a couple of basic questions. So that started it. We had excellent leadership support, as we always do. We love our leaders at Twin Star. They're fabulous. They created great communications. I supported some of those communications. We sent out videos and really helped people see the big picture and what they're connecting to, giving to in their time and in their money. We also had some great prizes, right? I mean, with anything, it's like, what's some competition and some great prizes. So that helped, pretty standard. And then really just helping them connect their purpose and what the Twin Star purpose is as well. And it's all connected, and it's about community and growing healthy and successful people financially, mentally, and physically, right? So that whole person element is something that we really focused on. So that was our experience. We were pleased to be able to really see some change. And hopefully we can build on that this year as well and continue that new trajectory for Twin Star. So thank you for partnering with us. Thank you for supporting us and providing such great tools. I love the online, payroll deposits, and that was easy, and just connecting to all the things that you guys had created in that package for us this year. It helped tremendously.
Jamie, thank you. And again, thanks for everything that Twin Star does to support the community. It's interesting, you mentioned the growth in numbers of people who participated. And we were very worried last year, with the pandemic. And I think almost workplace giving campaign across the board, that we saw growth, at least in numbers of participating payroll deductions. So it was pretty phenomenal in the year that we had. So thank you, Jamie. Okay, Victoria. I think we originally talked about going into breakout rooms, but with the number of people we have, I think we can maybe stop sharing the screen for a moment, but take a look at the question there. A time to share how your company has made a difference in our community and your plans for the future. So would anybody like to start sharing with that? Anybody want to share how your company has made a difference in the community? Because you all have.
I guess I'll start from Twin Star. I mean, we always love talking about what we're doing in the community. One of the things I'll talk about a personal experience and then talk about more about our company general. But we have continued to have volunteer opportunities out in the community, and I gathered my team, and we actually met in person, and we did the backpacks for kids, and we had such an amazing time just connecting as a team. Caring, seeing each other face to face was like, oh my gosh, and we loved it. But not only that, is it impacted the kids in our community, and we were excited to see that be able to roll forward. At Twin Star, we're also doing financial classes and really helping bridge that gap, right? I think we talked about that a little bit earlier with Chris as she was going through her overview, but like that financial well-being, that bridge between the elementary and school age kids, and then really launching into your success as an adult. So that is something that we are 100% committed into as well. And then just understanding that mental well-being for employees as they're facing financial distress during this last year and beyond. And how do we help provide creative options for them that reduce the barriers for them to really begin to build and see some successes in their personal lives. So those are some key elements that Twin Star specifically is looking at, and love that we're starting to see stories come in about these programs being impacting across the organization.
Thank you, Jamie. Okay, Nate, I'm going to put you on the spot because I know St. Martin's does a lot of work in the community.
Oh, Mike. Yes, so we have an entire office dedicated to service and justice. And so we connect our students to opportunities in the community to serve different groups, whether that's nonprofits, whether that's going along the side of a road and picking up trash. Our athletic teams, we have 15 of them, are required to do a number of service hours. Each of our clubs also does service hours. And then there are organizations in the community that reaches out to us asking for our students to volunteer. And so then we connect them to do that. So, yeah.
Thank you, Nate. Sorry to put you on the spot, but I know you well enough. You won't beat me up later. Deidre, good morning. Deidre Mickey from OlyFed. Deidre, do you want to share a little bit about some of the things that Olympia Federal Savings has done?
Well, sure. So I think probably along with everybody, the last year has been challenging. And so we have been volunteering and participating in different ways as we have for many years. And we love being a part of the community and volunteering in all sorts of different ways that we can as an organization and as individuals. And I think just with the question of what's coming up in the year, I think it's kind of one step at a time a little bit and seeing how things are going. And so hopefully giving our employees more opportunities to continue to volunteer. And we've been doing a little bit more of that through the summer, which has been really great. So
Thanks, Deidre. Appreciate that. And Chrissy, I know you have to leave fairly soon, but you want to talk a little bit about GHB insurance and some of the things that you have done?
Putting me on spot, huh?
I am, I'm sorry.
So, you know, like so many, it's really about engaging the folks that, you know, that we work with, right? And so last year with COVID, obviously we couldn't all be together. So we had virtual bingo. So we had, you know, everybody bought into the bingo game. And because we do have a lot of people that work in a lot of different remote locations. So we have people in Alabama, we have people in Ohio, we have people in Maryland, we have, I mean, you know, Eastern Washington. So we have a lot of our employees now that are really, truly remote. And so how do we engage in all of that? And so just the constant communication, the emails, the, hey, remember, you know, doing things that we can do, like games that we can do virtually, so that, and of course there's always a prize, right? Right? Who wins the blackout, or who wins the first bingo, or those kinds of things. And still just engaging also with our carrier partners that we work with to get them on board with some of this stuff. We really missed out last year. We love to work with Thurston County Food Bank, and we do a lot of volunteering there, but missing out on that day of caring was a real big bummer. So just trying to figure out how to, whether it's working within our community and finding volunteer avenues in our community. Like, I live in Mason County, so for me, like thinking about Meals on Wheels, the delivery. I mean, I'm a great driver, so, you know, just pack up my SUV and let's go. So just things like that, I think are really things that whatever is going to be easiest for people to get them engaged, even if it's not as a being able to do our day of caring, but finding opportunities that are local to one and one's, you know, remote space. And how do you participate, or just getting that information out to them and saying, hey, look, there's a vaccine clinic, or hey, you know, check out Meals on Wheels in your area, or, you know, there's Saints Pantry, or there's this, that, or another thing. Just communication, I think, is such a key with any of what we do with the engagement process. So.
Thank you very much. And, you know, I love to toot the horn for GHB, because they are really committed as an organization. I'm going to guess your participation rate in workplace giving is 90% or higher. And they do some fun things each year where they made their leader dress up in high heels and do karaoke, and different levels each year of goal attainment, and it's really a lot of fun. So
yeah, I can definitely say we have support from the top down. Yes. So, you know, our goal always is to get above what we did last year. So we set ourselves goals for different things, and as an organization, we might get, I don't know, half day off because we've hit X number of dollars in giving. But we always have this ultimate goal about what can we make the boss do? Can we make him, you know, dye his hair and go to a Rainiers game? Can we make him dress up like a fairy? Can we, gosh, what are some of the other things he's had to do? He's had to dress up like an Easter bunny and deliver goodies to our clients. He's had to have a poster board and stand out on the street sign dancing, saying that his employees made him do this because, you know, they've hit their goal for United Way. I mean, washing everybody's cars, for example, out behind our building. So, I mean, it's just been, you know, his engagement really helps, you know, all of our employees get engaged, because it's like, okay, what can we do to ROM this year, right? So he's always been a pivotal piece of all of this. And yes, it really does, and he also, as you guys probably all know, Schlumberger is hugely involved in our community, whether it's working on the economic board, or, being the head of Thurston County Chamber, or, he's heavily involved in the community, and he really, stresses that he wants that too, as part of his employees' participation. So it works very well.
Thank you. And he's also, so he's also a United Way board member. Which is
Absolutely.
Are there any others that want to share before we move on?
Mike, I can share something that I thought of that might be interesting. So I want to highlight a program that the credit union created probably 5 or 6 years ago now, and it has been a major impact during COVID. So a number of years ago, we had a small group get together, and we really wanted to figure out and create a program that engaged and empowered our staff, right? So we created what we call our Up to Some Good program, which is a pay it forward program. So the idea here is that our staff can lend a hand and spread some cheer and support a cause in their community that's important to them. And that allows our staff to spend up to $50 annually to do a good deed, or several small ones, and the credit union will reimburse them. So every single one of our staff has these dollars to go out and get up to some good in their communities. And it was very popular pre-COVID, right, to engage and support organizations near and dear to our staff's hearts. Anything from buying groceries for somebody in the checkout line, buying coffee, fixing a fence. We had staff combine their funds and adopt a family during the holidays. You get the idea.
Yeah.
So when COVID hit, right, and we were all sent home, and didn't know up from down and what's happening, and we were on a call trying to figure out how can we support our members and our communities. And one of the suggestions that I raised was increasing our pay it forward dollars per employee from $50 to $100, and it was approved within minutes. So ever since March of 2020, our entire staff, each individual, has up to $100 to get up to some good in their community, and give back however they see fit, right? It's this idea of supporting individuals, supporting our communities, even with the simple gesture of a coffee or groceries or adopting a family in the holidays. Those inspiring moments that can maybe make a difference in somebody's day, right? You don't know that impact until you see that face and are able to support. So we really wanted to find a way to engage and inspire our members and our staff. And it's been even more popular during the pandemic, which I think is really great and really shows, the engagement of staff and the heart of our staff and how they want to support. So it's just a really cool thing that we're able to support. And I encourage anybody, if you guys have questions, let me know. But again, just an opportunity to support them.
Great idea. Thanks, Linda.
Yeah.
Let's see, if there are no others, I'm going to turn it back over to Victoria.
I was amazed by the number of great ideas that companies have for making a difference. And my experience has been that the impact that companies can have on the quality of life in our community is unsurpassed. And so we want to put together what we call our Changemakers Toolkit. The purpose of that is to be an ongoing, ever-changing online set of tools where businesses can share what they've done to encourage employees to get involved and make a difference, how they are accomplishing their company's social responsibility goals. And then we can share ideas that we've learned throughout the United Way network of how companies in other parts of the country are working together with their employees and United Way to make a difference. And so it's going to be a site on our website specifically devoted to businesses. It might be there'll be tools to help you with your campaign. It might be there will be tools to help you identify volunteer opportunities. It might be we have a team that wants to do something, but we're not sure how to handle it in a virtual environment. Anybody have some ideas? So the idea for this site is that you'll be able to contribute to it, will contribute to it, and it'll be a source of hopefully never-ending ideas that will take what you all have said today, expand it multiple fold, and will continue to be a way for all of us to share how we're all going to show up united. And we hope to start plugging into that in about a month. On there will be a training on how to use our new online pledge system. We'll also be going out to all of you individually and talking to you about it, so you'll have an idea of how it works. And there'll be great videos and marketing materials about what United Way is all about as well. So we'll send you the link to that part of our website. We're in the process of drastically redoing our website, but one of the first steps will be this special portal for businesses only, where you all will be able to go and share ideas back and forth. And bear with us, it's evolving, but we hope that it will be a useful tool. And we're praying that someday COVID goes away, we can start having quarterly meetings where companies can share the ways that they're making a difference with other companies. It'll be a chance for all of us to have a pat on the back to all of us for what we're doing to make the community better, a chance to have a glass of wine or a cup of coffee together. So the United Ways team is looking forward to eventually moving into that. That's why I mute my phone.
That's Skippy in the background. So Victoria, I'll just close with this one so you can keep Skippy quiet. So really, I want to say thank you again for being here today. You've shared amazing information that I think is really worth gleaning from each of your organizations. So in the weeks ahead, as Victoria said, we will be rolling out actually a new online or e-pledge system. And the great thing about it is that it's already part of our existing, what we call our ANDAR system, our database system. So information from past contributors is already there, makes it really simplified. And we can customize each of your individual workplace giving campaign pages to whatever you want to have on there. But in the meantime, if you have questions regarding Workplace United, volunteer programs, or really anything else, take a photo, or you know how to get a hold of me, and feel free to reach out to any of us. But thank you for coming today. Really do appreciate it. Chris, did you want to say any closing words at all?
No, I just wanted to thank everybody for making time to be here with us this morning. I absolutely loved everything you shared about how you engage your teams, and it's inspiring to me to see just how important it is to you, to all of you, to help us get this work done in our community. I just appreciate it so much, and I appreciate every one of you. Thank you.
All right, well, enjoy the rest of your day, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.